doctor. He was just like, Miss Watkins, your daughter won't live to see 30. She will be disabled her whole life and she'll never have kids. The reason we held Clive Davis' office at Arista hostage was because they had generated over 175 million and we only got 50,000 apiece. What did happen is the industry, as far as like executives and stuff, they all turned against us. They felt it was over. Tionne T-Boz Watkins, Uncensored. I lived in East Perth, Headland, and Delow. And I was always known in the books as best dressed and best hairstyle. Being different was awesome, honestly, because I like not being like everybody or looking like, you know, the masses. I always have been a leader. My mom taught me to be a leader, and it's in me to be a leader. I don't care what nobody thinks. I don't care about what you're doing. If that's what I'm doing, even if it's not good for me, I'm still gonna do it if that's what I wanna do. And I've always been like that. They say I'm stubborn, maybe, but I've been working on it. I don't mind working on myself, but I'm just a very honest, blunt person. And that's how I want people to be with me. My high school years sucked. I hated high school. And I went to so many high schools because I got kicked out the whole DeKalb County school system, meaning I couldn't go nowhere in the county, okay? Like, and it wasn't me, y'all. Everybody else started it. Like, my mom wanted me to go to a white school because back then she felt like it was a better education. There probably was a better education out there than the schools that was in our hood. Didn't like none of my teachers. They even started something called isolation for me. I got kicked out so much, where I had to spend 6 months outside of the principal office every day and do all my classes right there in his office. But he actually got to know me and he was like, you know what, you're really not bad. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, yeah, I'm just a little outspoken. Like if a teacher says something, I'm like, you're not my mama or my daddy. You can't be speaking to me like that. So I've always spoke my mind, but I got kicked out because when I went to the white school, the white people called me the N-word, and then I went to the black school, all the girls said I wasn't black enough. I was fighting for my life in high school just because of the color of my skin. I just loved dancing. So even as a child, when my mom would put me in dance classes, I would immediately go to the advanced adult class. Like I would always skip through, like, cause I got all the dances, you know, and I was just good at it. I remember being in this dance crew because when we used to dance at Jelly Beans, and that's where like, you know, Dallas Austin, Rico Way, all of us used to skate. We used to have battles every Sunday. I learned how to dance at Jelly Beans because they wouldn't let none of the girls dance with the guys, and I was determined. I was even flunking out of school, straight Fs, because Sleepy Brown, I used to like, Pat, his real name is Pat. I was like, Pat, you gotta come teach me how to yeet. You guys, so I can go, you know, and they gonna let me in their crew. And I would be like, come on guys, please, I can dance, I'm telling you. Because I hated the way the girls danced, but I was like, I'm gonna get that crotch holding like the guys, I'm gonna do that. And they was just like, yeah, all right. So Pat would come over, and Monday through Friday, flunking out of school, flunking like a mug. I still learned how to dance, but I made it into the guy crew, and I was able to battle every Sunday at Jelly Beans. So performing is just in my soul. This girl, Crystal, had a group. It was like 1:30 a.m. and they came to my house. And I remember dancing for them, geeking. I killed it with a T, not killed, but kilt it, okay? And then I sang, the only way I could show my low register was, I wanna get with you, cause you got a lot, you know, from Guy. You know, I'm gonna get with you was the song that I sang. I met Lisa and Crystal at the same time, and we were going to call ourselves, at the time, we were called Second Nature. I liked Lisa a lot. She was very creative. She was too cute. She had a banging body, but she covered it a lot back then. And she had the prettiest eyes that were captivating. And I was just like, oh, she's such a cutie, you know, and she could wrap her behind off. And I was like, she's cool. I knew that Lisa could bring something to the table in this group at the time. And we were hoping that Crystal, you know, would bring something and work out, because she's the reason why we were there. So I'm very grateful and thankful of that. But she had her man in her ear. There was a group called Arrested Development, and he was a producer for them. And she had a baby, and he was like, mothers don't dress like that. I'm like, bro, we ain't out here dressing like sluts. We dressing like tomboys. What's wrong with that? And I kept saying, girl, you better not let no man run your life, because he gonna go on to be successful, and you gonna be left behind listening to him. He ain't gonna be here with you. I worked in a hair salon, Escape, in East Point, and Marie was a hairstylist, and she was like, TT, I'm doing Pebbles' hair. And I was like, girl, you need to tell her I'm a star, and she need to see me. You know what I'm saying? And I was talking all this stuff. And I didn't know she was really gonna tell Pebbles that, but she did. And that night, Pebbles called me on the phone. I was like, Mom, it's Pebbles. You know what I mean? And so it just happened all so fast, because the second day we went to dinner, the third day when we auditioned, Crystal just stood there. You have L.A. Reid, Daryl Simmons, and you're just standing there? And me and Lisa's getting it. Man, and L.A. Reid said rap. I don't rap, but I hit Ice Cube's rap like I wrote it. I was like, I put my Nike on the bed so it won't slide. Something, because I'm never hitting deuce files. I was in it, okay? And shoot, Crystal still was just standing. Pebbles made us kick her out. Because she came to us and was just like, one person it up for everybody. And we weren't really listening, but when she said it again, like I said, one person can it up for everybody. So in other words, y'all need to get rid of her. So Lisa goes, we go over to Crystal's house. Crystal's here, it's me and Lisa. So Lisa goes, girl, we got some good news and some bad news. And I'm like, what? Where is she going with this? She was like, the good news is Pebbles wants us to be in her group. But the bad news is, girl, she don't want you in the group no more. I rolled, and then I was like, oh, I'm laughing at this girl. Oh. And then she looked, and she just got up, opened the door, and did her hand like that, like, get out. So we walked out. And when we did get rid of Crystal, they was like, there's a girl I think would fit perfectly. She could dance, she could sing, she got a good look. So we go up to Pebbles' office, and in one night, we meet her. Lisa comes up with the name like Hot Pepper. We're gonna call you Chili. So Chili coming on board, it was just natural. You can't bottle up chemistry. That's just something that has to happen organically. And naturally, we just all gelled. It was just, you just knew. When you saw us, the energy, just everything, it just worked. It was perfect, actually. The same night we auditioned. L.A. Reid signed us immediately after that audition at his house, like right then. Even though we don't have a good relationship now to date, I am always honest about what happened, because she really did help me. I give props where it's due. Pebbles put me in a rehearsal hall, and she was just like, come out and show me who T-Boz is. So she would give me water, Gatorade, and like a bucket of KFC, honey, and locked in that room for like 4 to 6 hours a day for a week. I came out a beast, all right? I was like, oh, I'm clear on who I am, because I felt like, because girls was like, you going to audition for Pebbles, like, you dress like a boy, you should dress like her. I'm glad I didn't listen to them. I'm glad, see, that's where a leader comes in handy, honey, because if I would have followed them, I wouldn't be sitting in front of you now. The reason I got signed is because I was bold enough to be myself and to be different and to dress like a boy in front of her. That's what got me here, being myself. So when I stared at myself in the mirror, I was like, a girl singing like, every now and then, I can't be prissy. What would match that? And in me, I really do like dance more like a guy than a girl. I've never been girly on the dance floor. I don't even know if I could really even do girly stuff. You know what I mean? I feel awkward. So I practiced and I practiced, and you know, that's where the nose thing and the neck thing came from and all that stuff. Yeah, so I came out and I proved who I was, and I was like, I'm cool. That's what I'm gonna be, and this is who I am, and it's a part of me, and boom, that's T-Boz. It was like 1991. Ain't Too Proud to Beg was a, single, and that was the first song we recorded, And when I heard it, oh my God, this is a hit. And then come to find out it was, it was our first video. When we hit the scene, I think we hit the scene hard. You got this girl with this big hat on and, yo, mic check one. Like, it made you pay attention. It's like, what are these girls saying? And one thing the music industry taught me, I think it was LA who said this to me. If you turn the TV down and you can't even hear what you're watching, but it still captivates you and makes you pay attention, then you got something on your hands. That means you got some kind of vibe or aura that people like to watch or want to see or want to listen to you and look at you, So I think that video made people want to turn the volume up. I remember our first performance, our real first performance, because we didn't get to really practice. I think we did like maybe a college and maybe one club show, and then boom, we were going to open up for Hammer. I'm like, what? We weren't making no money though. It was only $5,000 a week to pay for the band, the travel, and I hated it because we have to stay on the same bus. When you broke, child, you got that one tour bus. Chili be in the front playing Sade and Seal. I'd be in my bunk watching Scarface, say hello to my little friend, and then Lisa locked in the back listening to Waffle House music, high and sleep. Lisa, wake up, can't get her out, you know what I'm saying? So it was hell. But we went on a major tour opening up for Hammer. Divine Stevens, who's like a brother to me, and he choreographs. And he said, Tionne, he sat me down one day and was like, do you really understand what a choreographer is? And I was like, no. I was like, what is it? And he was like, he said, it's not a person who learns a dance and teaches it. It's a person who creates a dance and makes the world follow. And I said, well, then I'm gonna be a choreographer. And that's where Creep came from. That's where What About Your Friends came from. And that's where Waterfalls came from. So I made up those hooks. So anytime you see somebody going that way and doing that, you automatically already know what that is. The emotional connection I had with Waterfalls, I think we all did, because that was the first video that we three collectively as a group came up with the concept. A lot of people don't understand what the song is about sometimes, but it's saying don't go out doing bad things in life if you know it's bad for you. Stick to the rivers and lakes that you're used to. So do the right thing, things that you know you should be doing. F. Gary Gray, we wanted F. Gary Gray. And man, we told him the concept. And when we saw the video, we was all, that ugly cry. It's so good. We don't even have to be in it. Oh my God. Because we had to beg to get that video done. LA actually framed the poster that we wrote begging to do it because Clyde didn't like it. Well, guys, I don't know. This isn't a good song. So we were like, yes, it is. We was like, LA, if you let us do this, we swear to you, it will be the best thing ever. Why is it our biggest song to date? And then once it became big, of course, Clyde, girls, yes, shut up. I think Creep, though, was a beginning of where people respected us as like grown women and a little more sex appeal. And then Waterfalls coming on from that was just like, these girls ain't playing. They have something to say. They have staying power. Like they really, have strong lyrical content and meaning and substance to their music. Being in a girl group's hard. And I'm not a girls type of girl. I'm a girls type of guy. Like I said before, the brother with lipstick. So me being in a girl group it was hard as, y'all, it was hard. So At the time, you know, you would fall out about the craziest things sometimes. You know, we never broke up, but you would have just the dumbest arguments over the dumbest things. And I think at the time, I was closer to Lisa at the time. You know what I'm saying? Me and Chili, because of Dallas, I think we would bump heads here and there because Dallas was being Dallas. He was being a guy and thinking with the other head instead of the right head, and I would be there in the middle. So it just was not a good situation at all. I was cool with all the guys like Rico Wade, Sleepy Brown, Marquez, because me and Marquez went to high school together. So everybody was at the studio, and there was these guys. It was Andre and Antoine at the studio, and they played this song called Players Ball. LA's brother, Bryant Reed, was the A&R, and he didn't like it. So I got on the call to LA like, hey, you need to wake up. Your brother's on crack if he don't like this group. Honey, you need to get out the bed and come down here, okay? You need to see this group, and I mean now. He got up out the bed and drove straight to Bronxtown, and that's how Outkast was introduced, and I was like, you need to sign them, and he did. As artists, yes. We were that broke as artists, okay? And then I was still living in the hood when the first video came out. Pebbles put us on the lowest budget monthly. I remember we was gonna make Pebbles a cake. We couldn't even afford it. So Lisa put on some pantyhose and she put the eggs between her crotch and the pantyhose, the cake mix up here in her belly. And we stole the ingredients to make her a cake. That's how broke we were. I'm gonna tell you, this is when I knew things were weird. We wanted to see our contracts. Pebbles did the Demi Moore crowd, you know, with the one tear. I treat y'all like daughters. I can't believe you want to see your contracts. Lisa and Chili broke into the office and stole the contracts. That's how we got our contracts to see them. And the lawyer who signed us, it was a conflict of interest because they used the lawyers. LA and Pebbles used the lawyers. And then we later found out that Pebbatone stood for Pebbles and Antonio. So I'm like, wait a minute. So we just signed in all kind of ways. Hammer, actually, I will love him forever because he's the one that put me and Lisa up the game on the business and the industry and things that was going on. When we found out that the contracts were unique, I'll just use that word, or janky, stanky jank contracts. I can't describe the feeling I felt. It was just disappointment. You go through a lot of emotions. You feel like you were lied to. You don't know who you could trust, who you can believe. So I have a song on the first album. We was even talking smack then. It's called Case of the Fake People. I thought that I knew about them. Thought that they would never do me wrong. Well, they'll smile in your face. Okay? Yeah, we was talking about that in that song way back then. We were so broke, we couldn't even afford to go bankrupt. We had to borrow $15,000 apiece from Andre Rison to file the chapter that we filed. And he gave it to us. So $45,000, I think it was, that we needed. And so, yeah, we borrowed the money for bankruptcy from Andre Rison before she burned his house down. Starting over after bankruptcy, we was hustling. We was determined not to ever be broke again. Like, you know, being on top of the world and #1 and winning all these awards, but you go home and your lights are getting turned off, that ain't hot. So we were like, we're not gonna ever feel like this again, because at that time, the reason we held Clive Davis' office at Arista hostage was because they had generated over $175 million and we only got $50,000 apiece. That's what happened. It turned us into some little roguish thugs, honestly, because you keep playing with our money, another side's gonna come out. And so Left Eye had already burned down the house, and we went through a lot of stuff where brands didn't even want us to wear their clothes, not to be seen in them. We didn't have no promoters who wanted to take us out. They just didn't want to be bothered with us, because when she burnt down the house, all of us burnt down the house. So we all were affected. So Left Eye was like, I'm in there with the diversion center with them girls. We could rent a car, go up to Arista and go get our money. So we was like, yeah. It was her idea, but we was like, yeah, so get them girls and they can come help us. We went up to Arista with the girls, and the rules were take everything off the wall and off any desk that says TLC. We're gonna go into Clive's office, don't let nobody in. And at the time, Puffy was in there playing music. And then Puff looked at me like this, and I'm like, dog, we gotta do it. He was like, all right. So he went out, and then Roy Lott was the next man in charge under Clive. So we was like, bring Roy in here too. Girls, come on, girls. Why are we, what? You know what I'm saying? Stop it. Where's the money? You know what I'm saying? Where's our money? They called the cops because everybody was afraid, all the girls taking the stuff off. So we took the plaques and put them in that limo with my limo driver that had a crush on me. So, and the police didn't arrest us. The cops really thought it was funny, like these three little girls, this is what is all this havoc. So that's why security is so tight to this day to get into Arista. We caused that. Yeah. So right now, there's so many people in the hood that have TLC plaques because we gave them all away, and they read Clive Davis and all these other people. Yeah, we gave them all away. Anybody want these plaques? You can all have them. We went to the hood and just handed them out. And the police didn't arrest us. You know, we never got a clear answer about the money. They gave us some stuff that made us calm down, like, you know, we'll work it out, you're gonna get it type talk, you know, let's just do it in a different way on another day. So we agreed. The desire to want this, I wanted it so bad. And I think that's how we ended up in those contracts a little, because we were told that it was fair. But the lawyer even came back years later and said, you know what? I want to apologize because, you know, back then they didn't know if you guys were going to be an overnight sensation, but y'all actually had staying power. So he wiped the whole slate clean. We didn't owe no money. The bill was, you know, wiped away. He took off what we owed and he started over with us and was like, now I just want to come with respect, legitly to you girls. I remember exactly what I was doing and where I was when I got the call about Lisa passing away. I was in my daughter's room. Chase, I had just put her to bed. I was watching Judge Mathis and, you know, the rocking chair. And then I got a call and it was Bill and Shirley on the line, but I couldn't understand anything that Shirley was saying because she was crying, but I heard the word Lisa. The weirdest thing, me and my daughter have this weird connection. When I wanted to stand up and scream, she woke straight up out her sleep and said, ah, like that. Weird, so weird. I didn't even make a sound, but that's the reaction that I wanted to have. But my daughter woke up out her sleep and did it. It was so strange. So I grabbed the baby because she was crying and I went downstairs. And I was married at the time, and I looked at him and I was just like, I didn't know what to do. Then you have CNN who wants you to say a statement that night so it can come out the next day, which was my birthday. So still every year, it's like 20 years later, and people still, you know, like I remember ordering Instacart this past year. I was thinking about you today. And I'm like, girl, like if I wasn't sad, y'all gonna make me like chill. Like just say happy birthday to me. I don't wanna hear anything else on my birthday but happy birthday. I don't wanna hear about that. I remember it. I can't ever forget it. And I would like to be just told happy birthday on my birthday and leave it there. And then I didn't know how to take people smiling at me like, sorry for your loss, but can I have your autograph? Like, what? And then her death numbers on every magazine. I'll be in McDonald's, you hear people talking about it in line, not knowing I'm behind them. I'll be in the movies, they talking about it, and they don't know I'm sitting in there. You know what I mean? So I was like, I can't go nowhere. Me and Lisa had been mad at one another before that, because that's when she went out to LA and became Nina with Suge Knight. And she was supposed to be in the studio doing her other commitment with TLC. with fan mail. I didn't care that she wanted to go do another album. It was just the timing that she chose to do it. She had another commitment, and we had signed a contract, and we had a deadline. You know what I'm saying? So that was the issue. I didn't never want people to think it was one of those situations where we're jealous or we didn't want her to do it. I want her to live her life. I wanted her to be Nikki and do her thing. Because Nikki was one of the personalities that I named her because she was a Gemini. She had about 5, and Nikki was one. I was in the hospital for 4 months before she died. So I'm in the bed and I hear this, "I'm almost to the room, I'm going to see Tionne." So I'm like, there she go. She came up there with a plant, but that was her way of saying sorry. And she let me know she was going to Honduras, but that was the last time I saw her. The one thing that I respected about her more than anything is that she really was just who she was. She didn't care about what nobody thought. Like, I thought I didn't care, but she didn't care, okay? She'd talk about herself first, so you don't have to worry about, you know, anybody saying anything, because she'll call herself out, you know what I mean? So I was like, hey, but I respect that because she lived her life to the fullest. I could say that. I got depressed for 2 years because creatively we were partners. I just stayed at home and I didn't really do anything. So when it was time to work, we felt forced. If you look at 3D's album, everything about that album is dark. The songs were not as good as they probably should have been, but the record company kept forcing us to come out. And so we finished the album because she died in between making that album. And me and Chili felt forced. What did happen is the industry, as far as like executives and stuff, they all turned against us. They felt it was over. It is what it is, and it had to come out. So, you know, I mean, it still did fairly well, not as good as our other albums, but like if it sold 7 million or 9 million, they was like, yeah, they fell off. And I'm like, no, that's not true. We're still the biggest girl selling group of all time, baby. But you know what I'm saying? We still had talent. You just have to realize that it's never gonna be the same, but you have to find your new normal, whatever that is. And even though a lot of doors were shut and a lot of people were scared to perform with us or do anything, I just kept saying, you need one yes, and that was the Super Bowl Blitz. That was the show that put us back on the map, and that let the industry know that this still can happen with just 2 members. And we always make sure we incorporate her and keep her legacy alive. I'm always gonna do that. And you know, it pisses me off when people say, it's just TC. When you work hard for something, especially when you pay $1 million per letter and you work hard to build something, it is always gonna be TLC. It doesn't matter if she's physically standing here or not. Her voice and everything, she helped me build this. It started off with us before we even got Chili. So at the end of the day, when you build something up and you work so hard for it, you don't change it. It's yours. That's who we are, always. Even when we're all gone, it's still TLC. Sickle cell, I had it from birth. My mother took me to the hospital. They couldn't figure it out. They was like, we don't know what's wrong with her. And they even tested my blood, but they didn't know to test for sickle cell because they didn't really have knowledge about the disease back then. There's sickle cell anemia, there's SS and SC. And I have another blood disorder called beta thalassemia, so they call mine sickle thal with SC. So that's what I have, sickle thal. But the only way that I could describe it for anybody to understand how excruciating the pain can be, like a butcher knife, if somebody was just stabbing you over and over and you can't do anything about it, and the pain will get so bad sometimes you hallucinate, you're like out of your mind, you don't know where you are. Ooh, my mom was so good at calming me down. She used to just sing my name, Tionne, Tionne Tenise, my little girl, my pretty little girl. Tionne Tenise, oh Tionne, oh Tionne Tenise. And that's all she would sing, and a melody to me, and that would calm me down. My mom was great because she never showed fear. She never showed her worry. She always made me feel comfortable anytime that I didn't feel well. I think you go through these stages of denial. So I didn't want to have the disease. So I would do everything as if I didn't have sickle cell. And my body would remind me and kick my butt, and I'd end up in the hospital because, of course, like, Heffa, you do have it. Having a brain tumor, surgery, it's called a craniotomy. That was one of the hardest times of my life because it took me 4 years. I lost my sight, hearing, balance, and speech. They took my balance completely. And that's everything I do in my job, like my face, my hearing. I'm like, oh my God. And then the doctor asked you which one you want to save first. I was like, okay, my face, because they couldn't tell I'm blind and deaf, and then my hearing, because I would like to hear, and then I guess my balance, you know. So they had to take my balance, but that was fine. You could teach yourself, if you work hard at it, to compensate 93%. You know, you may not be 100. Sometimes I fall over still, but it's okay because I don't have balance on the right side. I have an inner thing in me that just pushes me to get up. I think it's called G-O-D. God always be looking out for me. Somehow I'm able to push through. What stuck with me all these years was when I was 7 years old. This doctor, he was just like, Miss Watkins, your daughter won't live to see 30. She will be disabled her whole life and she'll never have kids. I'm like, looking at my mama like, what's he talking about? Because I told you I'm gonna blow up and be on TV one day. I'm gonna be a star, okay? But she immediately looked at me and held me and said, don't listen to nothing he said. God has the last say-so over your life. And so I chose to believe my mother. When I was 25 years old, I remember the doctor saying I had fibroid cysts and I needed emergency surgery. And they wanted to take my uterus. And my mom said no because she's gonna have children one day. And I looked like, dang, you still believe that? Like, cause I kind of believed the doctor when he said I couldn't have kids. I was like, maybe I can't, you know what I mean? It's still in the back of your mind. That's why he should have never said that to me as a child at 7, cause it's still in the back of your mind. He said it, like, so it's there, you know, the thought of it. And my mama, she was just like, no, don't take it. She'll be fine. Do what you gotta do, take the cyst out and keep her uterus because she will have kids one day. We were doing this video on Goody Mob set called What It Is, What It Ain't. Nicole was like, TT, your boobies are bigger. And I was like, for real? I got cleavage, I got cleavage, you know? But I felt weird. And I was like, I'm sick, so I need to go to the ER. So I left the set, I didn't do my part. And the doctor said, you're pregnant. And I was like, no, I'm not, because they said I can't have kids. He said, honey, you're definitely pregnant. I looked at Nicole, she said, I told you, because you always eat Blimpies and you was eating Subway. And I was like, I don't know. So I had him bring me the numbers. I was like, I don't know, you sure? Because I ended up being hospitalized because I was going into a sickle cell crisis. So I remember him, Dr. Poliak, and I was like, Dr. P, I don't know, man. I don't believe you. You sure y'all didn't get the paperwork messed up? So he was like, Tionne, 99.9. You know what I'm saying? He showed me the numbers. You are very much pregnant. So I was like, oh my God, I'm really pregnant. It took like 11 times to, you know, convince me that this was real. Pregnancy for me was, it was awesome. I mean, I was happy as all get out. And my mama kept saying, oh, Lord of Jesus. Oh, my God. Oh, Lord of Jesus, you know. Now, it almost killed me getting her here. I was in a coma for 3 days, but I did it. And I'll do it all again if I had to get my baby here. If I didn't have a strong mother and a God-fearing mother, I would have believed him, most likely. Because some people, like, that's all they have to believe in is a doctor. They don't have a good, you know, foundation at home like I did. That's my best friend. My mom and me are everything. Like, I have a great mom, so I'm blessed. Yeah. I'm a person who believes in manifestation and speaking things into existence. Words are very powerful, so you should watch what you say. Everybody thought I was crazy at first when I said I wanted to adopt. Everybody was like, your job, you get sick. I'm like, hold up, y'all, wait a minute. Sickle cell is what I have, is not who I am. It's a difference, boo. Like, I'm not sitting walking around decrepit every day. Like, I'm functioning, I'm mostly healthy, you know? And there's like, but your job's so demanding. Bump my job. Your kids come first. You make time for what you want. and this is what I want, period. So one day I'm out in a beauty supply store and a lady came up to me. She said, I don't want to alarm you. I just want to tell you a message that I was told to give you. She said, I know how you are, and I don't want you to think I'm crazy. She said, but that decision that you're making that everybody's against, you do it for yourself. And I said, she's talking about Chance. Adopting a child is one of the hardest things ever to go through in life. Like, I was so stressed out. I was stressed out. Like, you just go through so many rules and regulations. I had a bi-coastal adoption, so I had to go by California laws and Iowa laws, They also give the biological a chance to change their mind. Even though they signed over their parental rights, you still get a chance in the hospital for a day. So just waiting in that moment, like, I was in love with him when he came out. Like, where's my baby? You know what I'm saying? And I couldn't be there for 7 days. It was killing me. I had to watch him be born over FaceTime. So by the time I held my child, I never forget, my auntie was like, he's different with you. He must know you're his mother, because when I laid him on my chest, he was different with me. He always stayed calm. God made this baby for me, I'm telling you, because he's just like me. Like, Chance was meant to be my baby, so everything about my children is touchy. It's touching for me because, like, I was told I couldn't have it. Like, so if you got something you can't have, like, hello, I'm winning. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I got everything I wanted, the best of both worlds. I got my boy and my girl. Child, please. I am set for life, okay? So, like, everything about my kids, like, when you're having a bad day coming home, just to see their smiles, everything, like, every little thing matters, like, That's a big sense of accomplishment, raising a real person to be a great person in this world. I love my kids, honey. They come first. Everything else don't matter. Be the Match actually helped me change my life when they asked me to do that campaign. Because I do a lot of charity work with, like, blood drives and things like that, because, sickle cell is a blood disorder, basically. At the time, they wanted to get the bill passed for bone marrow transplants. And I didn't know how expensive each of them were. So I learned so much. And actually, I went to DC to help pass the bill for bone marrow transplants. So I think they helped me get deeper into, understanding, like, different diseases and what's needed, what's not needed, what can be done, what can't be done, what people need help with, and the awareness that needs to be out there. And then knowing that I made a change in the world that actually meant something and was gonna help people, like, I was really proud of myself for that one. I want to retire from touring. I see a person who wants to be more of a mom than an artist. I've given so much to this industry for 32 years. I damn near died for this. Been in the hospital. I do a lot just to get on stage, more than the average person, just because of my disease. Yes, I chose it, but so I'm willing to do the work to do it. But I am getting to the point to where it has to stop. So I love performing, but it's hard being out on the road. It's hard on the average person who doesn't have a disease. You hear about people going to the hospital for exhaustion and, all that stuff, and they don't even have sickle cell. So could you imagine, for me, what that's like? When I look in the mirror, I see somebody who still has dreams and a lot of things that they want to do. I'm a go-getter. I'm a hustler. We call it Hustle Man Jones. Yep, I got my Hustle Man Jones hat on because I never stop. There's always something. Like, when you're creative, there's always something you want to do. I want to get into writing movie scripts and all that. So what I wanted to say, when I have bad times, my mom always says the idle mind will drive you crazy, because I'm always thinking and wanting to do stuff. So she said, do something like, teach yourself a skill or something. So I taught myself how to write movie scripts. So I can say, like, yeah, I had a bad time, but I I acquired the skill while I was going through it. And so that came from like when I had a breakup at like if I broke up with like my boyfriend or something, my mom, there was no sulking and feeling sorry for yourself and crying, not over no guy. You better get your up and go to Six Flags and have fun. You might be sad, but you can say you had a good time doing it that day. You know what I mean? So when I look back, I'm glad she did that because I'm like, yeah, it was a terrible breakup, but I had a ball on that roller coaster, you know? So she made sure I always did something with myself. And I always surrounded myself with people who were bigger and better than me, had more knowledge than me, so that I could be that person for somebody else one day. There's no way you're gonna put me in this industry for 32 years around all these successful people and think I ain't gonna learn something. I'm like a sponge, I be taking it all in. So that's how I'm able to go on and do our production now and do the things that I do, you know, in this industry that I've learned. So learn what you can, respect yourself. That's so important. And remain yourself. Like, just be yourself. Don't let nobody change you. Nobody. It's not worth it. Because they will try to change you in this industry. They try to change me. Didn't work so well. I'm glad I stayed myself or I wouldn't be sitting here, you know?